additional background noise that you're hearing?
No, sound good.
Beautiful. Okay. All right, here we go. So here we go. Guys, my name is Marlon Avery. I'll be your host today. So as for today, we'll be diving into just on the development side of artificial intelligence and how to build applications on top of Azure. And so I've been using Azure now for quite some time throughout my career. But as of lately, it's really became a part of the tool suite and stuff here. We just kind of recognize the importance of it and it's a need for it too, as well as we're building, these AI solutions stuff as we advance in here into society. And so as far as today, um, uh, quick note or anything about me. My name is Marlon Avery. Uh, big fan of sneakers. This is kind of like where my journey here started with development. I'm a self-taught software engineer. So I taught myself how to code quite some time ago. The reason for so is because I wanted to build this sneaker platform. At the time, I didn't know anything about how apps should be ran, should be built on thing at the time. I knew how to do with apps. It's just basically how to download them. And so since then, I taught myself UI, UX design, and just kind of like the look, the feel, the flow of the application. And then quickly I start to kind of get in and start to figure out, from there, how these things and stuff work. And so eventually we end up kind of launching the platform. Also, too, I've worked and built other applications for other influencers. So there's an Instagram comedian by the name of Haha Davis, where I built his iOS text messaging iOS sticker platform, which went to number one in the App Store for 3 weeks straight. And then also too, I worked at companies like Uber, where I started off on the support side and kind of worked my way over to the Uber Eats team, as well. From there, I started to kind of get a little bit more toward into the weeds of things. I really want to figure out, just like how I can kind of advance my career with becoming a software engineer. And so I moved into a friend's garage, focused on coding for 6 to 8 hours a day. And that's how I taught myself for an entire year. And so just as I became self-taught, from that aspect. From there, I went to go work at a ed tech company by the name of Treehouse. So if you've kind of taught yourself, at some point you probably heard of Treehouse. Um, ended up running a program there where became kind of like going like the lead engineering managers where we taught people how to code in 8 to 10 months, and then we was placing them into apprenticeships and stuff at the end of it. That got the attention of another company by the name of Udacity. And so if you know about Udacity, Udacity was kind of like the second largest ed tech platform in the world and stuff at the time. Well, I'm sorry, in the US at the time. And so I went over to join Udacity where I ran about 50% of the engineering courses and stuff over there. And then that kind of got the attention of the venture capital firm by the name of Lightship Capital, which is the largest minority-owned venture capital firm based out of Midwest. And there was kind of like a prominent time too as well because that's also where my AI journey started. Leadership came to me. We just got access to this tool called OpenAI, and leadership came to me and said, "Hey, Marlon, we just got access to this tool. Do you think that it can help us write grants faster?" And so, just like any other software engineer, I said, "Yeah, for sure." Having no clue what to do or what to build. We did. We figured it out. We end up had the privilege of kind of having the one of the titles and stuff there. End up building one of the first AI grant writers on top of GPT-3. And so since then, we've been building. Oh, I'm sorry, I've been building and educating, and stuff and everything moving forward. Stuff there. And so yeah, it's been fun up until now. I've actually I think this is Matt, you're like this. I think this is like workshop 670, I think, where we've
70.
been, yeah,
Wow.
so been building and teaching, implementing, Gen AI, not only just from a what it is a standpoint, but also to how to implement into your operations and stuff. And so yeah, this is this has been fun and everything so far. So here, I know we just got a few more people and stuff there that's joined and stuff there. Would love to hear from you before we get started. Just kind of want to know if you want to kind of put it in the chat and stuff. We just kind of want to know like who you are, where you come from, a little bit about what you're building, and stuff up to this point too as well. That'd be awesome. So yeah, we got some in the chat. Antoinette, hey, no problem. Antoinette, where you from?
I'm from Houston,
Hey, what part?
out in Katy, like more
I'm from
outskirts.
Houston as well. I'm
Yeah.
originally from Houston. Yeah, Southwest side, over by Astroworld.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from the Southwest too, so very familiar.
Yep,
We
yep, yep,
just
definitely.
recently moved out to the Katy area, so originally from Southwest Missouri City, Sugarland area.
Yeah, very familiar. All my family, both sides are from Houston, so haven't been there in a
Okay.
while, but yeah, definitely familiar.
Love it. Glad to
Hmm.
be here.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, who else? Who's we got?
Looks like it's still
See that?
just us. We've got
Okay.
Jefferson, Tony, and myself, and then our support folks from Spectra. So,
All right.
but you're on a
Cool,
roll.
cool,
Keep
cool.
going.
All right, beautiful. So today, we're going to break down to kind of do the introduction. I'm also to kind of break down how we approach projects, particularly AI projects, from our agency, and then also too, I'm going to break down some of the key tools that we use and everything on top of Azure, and also too the why, we use some of these tools, to as well. So one of the computer vision tools we're going to cover stuff here is a computer vision component called OCR, which stands for optimal character recognition. And then essentially how we built a RAG application on top of that, using those tools with it that's within Azure. And so I got some documentation and all those different things and stuff I share with you, but we're going to dive into it and stuff. And so, it's also too, a tool like this is very it's very important here thing for individuals who are looking to build these tools, these solutions. I think not only myself, but we're just going to need so many different solutions, from the minds of individuals like yourself, as we advance and stuff in society, and just so many opportunities, so many applications, so many use cases that can be built and stuff right now. And so luckily, we have partners and we have support like Microsoft to kind of like help us kind of see some of these things and stuff through. And so let's dive into it and stuff here. All right, so real quick, I just kind of want to get a breakdown, just kind of a little bit of history and kind of what we've been through and stuff now, but kind of also like why it's important and the indication of where we are so today. So we've all kind of been through this phase of this thing called the internet. We've all used it, we've all benefit from it, but also too, the internet itself. A lot of people at the time thought the internet was going to be a fad. A lot of people thought that it was going to just be another phase, another thing kind of pass over. And yet, became one of the prominent things that we benefit from our society. So typically within like large technologies, we kind of go through this adoption scale, for technologies. And so, we have this innovation trigger when it launches, when it comes to kind of the public society, mostly, a lot of like the nerds, the engineers, the software engineers and stuff are coming to come across it. And of course we're excited about it. And then we kind of start to explain to the world, and the world's like, okay, okay, this could be awesome. This is going to change the world. Life is going to, be different from here on out. And then also too, when you do that, expectations start to arise, but also too, expectations also start to kind of peak and stuff there. And so typically around here is where you see the peak of expectations and stuff happen. And then we kind of go through this delusion period. So now since those expectations has peaked, now people are like, oh, okay, I tried it. I tried to use it. It's too hard. It's too difficult. Or, okay, it didn't meet the expectations of what I thought it was going to be able to do. And so, this is not what you guys said it was going to be. And so then typically a lot of people start to kind of like throw it away, push it aside, and kind of go back to what they was working on and, originally, or maybe. The beautiful time around this period, as well, is also for individuals like yourself, because this is also where the building happens. This is where people really kind of get into the weeds, the code, the processes, to start to develop startups, applications, services, tools, and what those things happen. And so throughout time, we kind of start to scale out here, but throughout time, this is kind of where then we start to kind of like see things like, like Facebook, Googles, and Twitters and things like that. So these big tools, these big companies are typically built around, that downturn of expectations. Same thing happened with the cloud. So, when the cloud stuff launched, it was very, very, very expensive. It was extremely expensive, and a lot of businesses, organizations, governments, and so they kind of understood the what it could be, but it was very expensive during that time, and so a lot of people kind of just started to kind of push it aside because of how expensive it was, and also too how difficult it was to integrate and build on top of. But now we live in a world where we got access to the cloud, even on our phone for 99 cents a month, and so those type of tools and services, kind of go through that same period. And then the same thing too happened with mobile, as well. And so I remember a time when the App Store launched, you could scroll to the bottom of to when you kind of like seen other apps, and so that doesn't really happen, stuff anymore. But that same period, that same innovation trigger, saying, peak of expectations and then the same scope of enlightenment, that same process happens or anything from the internet, from the cloud, and then also to mobile. And then on the back end of that, we got to use tools like Snapchat, DoorDash, Twitter, and so on, or X now, and so on and so on. So interesting enough, though, I'm an individual where I definitely believe, especially when it comes to the consumer, is that innovation typically doesn't move past human adoption. So we can build and we can showcase and all these things like that, but innovation typically doesn't move past human adoption. So here's something that's very interesting of what's happening around like Gen AI tools. And so typically how the adoption cycle works, I just kind of showed you a graph of like how it kind of peaks off and stuff there. But look what happened here with the internet. Say internet, it has like this, just kind of graph where it's kind of like it's bigger off, it's starting to be accepted, start to be adopted, things like that. Same thing with the smartphone, it starts to scale up and start to be adopted and scale up, things like that. Tools though, like OpenAI, and tools like Gemini and tools like Perplexity and things like that. This is very different. Like this graph right here is just skyrocketing it up, and it's very different from the smartphone and from the internet and everything. Any cases, any questions, any thoughts why? Any thoughts why this is so different? So we got the internet, the adoption phase to kind of like have this peak of graph and stuff there. Same thing with the smartphone, but the tools, with like OpenAI, things like that, it's kind of like skyrocketing up for some reason. No wrong answers. Any thoughts of why this is so different from, smartphone and internet area?
I would say that probably the internet and smartphone were fairly new, like brand new technologies, but you leverage AI on the internet and smartphones, like people are already used to those things. So you leverage AI on things that you already know how to do to maybe improve current tasks, improve processes. I think people just in general, if you tell me that I could use a separate tool to do something that I already do better, I'm more keen to work with it or take a chance at it versus the other things they were brand new.
Antoinette, I'm not sure if you've been to one of my workshops before. If so, that's cheating. But you nailed it.
I have not.
Yeah.
This is
No,
my
she
first
nailed it. I
year.
mean, right. It's the first time in history with these type of technologies where the everyday person has access to the bottom floor. So, example, with the internet and stuff there, you had to have a tremendous amount of access to capital. you have to have very, very, clear cut, engineer stuff to know how to build on top of it, So just even, those early days, there wasn't no Amazon.com, everything at that time. The IP address you had to forward to was, 972.225.37.4, everything to kind of go to that browser. I mean, same thing too with the smartphone. You had to be a software engineer, you had to be a company, you had to have those resources, everything to put a application in those early days, in the App Store, Google Play Store, in the App Phone Store. And so you had to have those. And so, but these tools that we have access to now, um, everybody can use it. So Andre Kaparthi, the co-founder of OpenAI, put a beautiful tweet out, and he said basically, the new coding language is English. And so, the ability to just simply, prompt, the ability to ask, the ability to, put together, your question and stuff there and get a response and then build on top of it, build with that is something that we haven't had access to before. And so, like I said, no wrong answers. Antoinette nailed and stuff there, but this is my belief of why these things are so different that we've seen before. All right. So again, I run a company called AI Impact. So AI Impact is the education part of our company. So what you're experiencing right now, this is AI Impact, and so we teach workshops, we teach workshops, we teach, we do conferences, we teach engagements, not to only to individuals, but also to organizations, governments, and so on and so on. But also too, as well, we have another sector of our company where we build stuff there. So we build some of these solutions. And so we'll kind of dive into some of these stuff here in a second. But we build some of these solutions that, that we're teaching, that we're showing. And so we also, our approach and our belief with all these things is that, our goal is to decrease fear of AI and increase creativity. And so, once we can decrease the fear and increase creativity, then your mind starts growing enough like, hey, can it do this? Can you integrate this? Can you build this and everything? And we love to hear those because typically, as of today, the answer typically is yes. And so now, we can partner together to kind of like build some of these things. So from that, we love to take an education first approach. We do not want to make the assumption that, what AI is, what the capabilities and stuff are. And also too, with Warren, a lot of people still have those concerns, those fears. Just like, hey, I'm not sure. I've heard that it's going to take my job. I heard it's going to start to replace us. I heard that, if we keep building these things, the back end of that will be somewhat of the Terminator. And so we've kind of heard, all these fears and stuff. And so we like to debunk a lot of those fears and those concerns. And we like to provide not only data results, but, use cases that we already built, stuff with that. So from there, from those workshops and stuff, what we from the educational first approach, and then we kind of like dive into some of the capabilities and stuff of what can actually be built today. What's real, what was built previously, and what can really happen and stuff today. And then from there it's just all like integration. So we like to build with the human. We're not looking to necessarily replace the human and everything. I'll be transparent and stuff here. Some elements, will be replaced and everything, but also too, it gives you the access to kind of like learn new things or focus on new creative areas. So a beautiful example, of that, your last location that you've just kind of like physically drove to. So if you just came from the grocery store, the library, dropping your kids off, I would hope that you did not use um that you didn't use MapQuest to get there. Now, if you remember MapQuest, MapQuest was where you would go put in point A to point B and you would go print out those directions. And so it's always funny how we tell the kids now not to text and drive, and we used to have this large map, like we're, like we're a pirate there trying to get from point A to point B, and everything. Also, too, I imagine at some point everybody said when you went into a grocery store, everybody's had that big question of why is there only one line open? Why don't we have one register open and then you got a line of 15 and stuff there? So these are just some just at examples of like how technology advanced and everything. And so, while it may replace certain things, but there's also benefits into, that we had on the back end. And so just like we ask that question as consumers of like, hey, why is there only one register open? That may kind of like, that may kind of replace some jobs and everything, but it also kind of gives those individuals the ability to now advance in their career or move adjacent and things like that. And so, with that, we like to build with the human because, one of the terms there is called human in the loop and stuff. And so, why going back to going back here real quick. All right, yeah. So going back here with this like the skill adoption, and everything. Typically, I mentioned that in the world of AI right now, I believe we're right here. We're like now we're at this kind of like this bottom curve. We're at this bottom standpoint of where now the building is about to start happening. And here's an example of that. So we got open source models, we got closed source models. So open source models or your examples of, you got models and everything like Llama and everything. You got closed source models like, like your Claudes and your OpenAIs and so everything. Um, this is a basically a graph and everything um from Max and everything individual and stuff on Twitter. And basically it was showing that the creativity of an advancement of open source models and closed source models are starting to plateau and it starts to plateau. So basically, what you're not seeing these large gaps. You're not seeing these large leaps and stuff anymore. So if you look at something, like GPT-4, or your I'm sorry, GPT 3.5, look at the leap that GPT 3.5 made to GPT-4. And so basically, what he's saying is like you're not seeing these large leaps anymore, which is fine, but it's also starting to plateau. Everything, which also, in my personal belief and stuff here, means that okay, it also means too that now we're starting to kind of like hit this period. But going back again, this is also too where the building happens. This is where the building happens and stuff, for us engineers, developers, and creators and stuff here. So, this is kind of just like an example of why that belief and stuff is there. So this is a beautiful place. This is a time now to build. This is a time to build. This is a time to integrate. This is time to be solution focused. How can I solve that problem, for my company? How can I solve that problem for my client? How can I solve that problem for myself? And so, now we're kind of getting to the place. So I believe we're now at a place where the foundation models that we're going to build on top of is starting to be cemented. And I'm an individual where I also believe is like, that was kind of phase one. That was kind of phase one. I would also say this as well is that while all of this development, all of these insights, all of these models can be overwhelming. It's supposed to be, supposed to be everything because this is like we're all learning this new. And when I say all, I have the privilege of talking to, CTOs. I have the privilege to talking to CEOs or anything, Fortune 500 companies. And I tell you guys that everybody's figuring this out. So you have your top 1% and everything who has a great understanding, but for majority of the world, everybody is figuring this out. And being in workshops like this and partnering with companies like Microsoft is also going to kind of put you, at the top of that food chain and stuff, if you will. And so with it, man, I'm glad you guys and stuff are here and stuff, so we can dive more into it. Any question or anything before I move forward? Any questions, concerns, comments, and stuff there before I move forward and stuff here?
Well, I'll just make one comment on what you just said. I mean, here I am, Microsoft. There's like 200,000 of us and lots of capital, lots of data centers. And in order to, you know, do what my mission is, which is teach more developers how to use this stuff, the honestly, Marlon, the best person I could find is you, who's almost a one-person shop, um,
Mhm.
and you're on par. That's what an equalizer this moment of time is. You know, there's so much at your fingertips, and there's so much you can teach us that It's exciting. This is when cool stuff happens. So,
Yeah, it's a great time and stuff to be here. You know, I'm an individual, and even now my organization, we have a very unique view of this world because the workshop. So we teach engineers and stuff as well, but we're teaching and we're integrating and we're talking to day-to-day organizations. We're talking to nonprofits. We're talking to government. We're talking to government system as well. And so, we're talking to essentially your everyday worker, and we're teaching and we're building, and stuff, these things as well. And so we love doing that. Teaching has become a love language of ours. We love doing it because it keeps a thumb on where the world is actually seeing and integrating and viewing and experiencing these things and where they are. And with that, it gives us the ability to build not only with the expectation, but with their knowledge of where they currently are. And so we have a very, very unique view, of the world where I also believe this, like, you have your, individuals and organizations and everything that kind of we see on the news. And now this company's OpenAI raised, I think it was like 16 billion, and just like all different things like that. And that can kind of put pressure on somebody because now you feel like you're starting to feel like you're behind. You're starting to feel like you're behind, you're not getting it, and things like that. And I would say just like everything typically you see in the news and all these different advancements you see. Yeah, yeah, something, Jefferson.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
no.
so everything.
Sorry, sorry.
uh,
Oh,
Okay,
sorry. Sorry.
so everything that you see on the news and all these events that you see, like, look at it this way: that's the top of the iceberg. That's the tip of the iceberg and everything. And so, typically on the iceberg, now you see 10%, of the iceberg and stuff above, surface. But that mass below is, the rest of us and everything. It's the people who are building, it's the people who are educating, it's the people who are learning, that's the rest of us. And so I'm individual that can tell you that the one somebody who engages and who is in that bottom massive percent of the iceberg is guys, everybody's figuring it out. So you being here is also to kind of like creating steps and everything potentially for you to kind of get that type of the iceberg. And so it's exciting. It's exciting and everything to build, because now you get to build the AI centric universe that you want to see tomorrow, not just wait till somebody build it for you. Mhm. All right. So today we're going to kind of go through one of our clients and stuff here. And so one of our clients is the world famous Vizcaya Museum. And so Vizcaya Museum is a museum based out of Miami, Florida. And so it was started and founded by the individual named James Deering. And so James Deering has his house. He was also too essentially like just a businessman. And so James Deering also just had a lot of material, a lot of knowledge. He was a big art fan as well, but also too, he was a person where he wanted to kind of get the best deal. He was always negotiating things like that. But also too, this individual was doing a lot of communication via letters, because these are the late 1800s, late 1800s and early 1900s. So and so, so the company reached out to me and said, "Hey, Marlon, we have." Actually, I'm gonna switch over and stuff here. I said, "Hey, Marlon, we have access. We just acquired. We just acquired thousands of James Deering's letters. And these are all just different information of just like how he was negotiating and how he was communicating, things like that. And said, hey, is there a way we can build, a conversational AI system on top of these letters with using the letters, essentially like as a knowledge base and stuff, if you will. And so, I was like, yeah, for sure. Definitely can, we can figure that out and stuff. And so so they gave me access to these letters, and guys, I'm reading through these letters. I'm like, oh man, this is amazing because essentially, like in a way, these are like text messages. These are text messages, these are emails and everything. But these are just like these are the way they communicated, doing that stage and everything to like 1800, early 1900s. And so I said, okay, let's figure this out and everything. And so I say, you know what? As I'm kind of reading and stuff like through these letters and kind of analyzing some of these letters, my first thought was, okay, I definitely want to see the letters because I want to see what type of condition they're in. And so, these letters, again, these are from the late 1800s or 1900s. And so I'm already kind of expecting the worst, if you will. And I'm like, man, okay, well, let's see. Let's see what these letters and stuff. So they gave me access and I got to see the letters. And then some of these letters, uh, they had burn stains on them, watermarks, missing components and stuff of the letter because they have like a burn stain in the middle of the letter. So I'm like, okay, well, this is about to be interesting. I'm not sure how, this is going to work and stuff here. And so the first thing I had to do there is I had to, set the right expectations, of stuff, what to expect. And so we did some research and stuff how we're going to basically transition the information from the letters and everything, and how it's going to transition that from the actual letters and everything into, essentially like text, text and everything, kind of getting it ready for, either a vector database or some type of like standpoint it can stand on. Um, from there, we did some research of like, okay, what does that process look like? What type of tools, can we use and stuff, in there. And so we're researching and we're finding different things. And so one of the things that we came across is essentially OCR. And so, okay. And so now we're looking at, OCR, which stands for optimal character, recognition. And it basically it's a computer vision tool. And so it's okay, this could potentially work. And then from there, we do a deep dive. We do a deep dive of, what tools are available, we can use on top of this. And so here, I'm gonna switch my screen and stuff here. Du-du-du. All right, there we go. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, and you're not covering any part of it.
Beautiful.
Yep.
All right, so here, I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. What's up over here? Okay, cool. All right. So, so one of the things that we came across Microsoft Azure Computer Vision OCR, and we came across Google's Computer Vision OCR. And so what we like to do and everything, one of the individuals on my team, David, he presented this beautiful breakdown of the benefits and pros and cons, and everything, not only of Microsoft and Google, but also to other platforms as well. And so one of the we can go through like some of the pros and some of the cons, and so best use cases and stuff, and so don't feel like you got to jot this down. I'll share this with you guys or with Matt and everything, so he can share it with you as well. So yeah, so one of the breakdowns for some of the pros and everything for on the Microsoft side is cost effective and everything. So you kind of get 5,000 transactions on the free tier, and everything for the first term and for the first 12 months. One of the beautiful things that it recognizes hand recognition, which was critical because these letters a lot of times are written in cursive. So a lot these letters written in cursive, and so it's like, man, how do you take a system and everything to recognize, cursive and everything, and then translate that into proper text? Um, we need functions of integration too as well. So, okay, we're going to store it into Azure, storage. We need access to, functions, cognitive search, things like that. So we can kind of automate some of these things. And so scalability also too was a critical need and stuff for us because, at the time they told us like, hey, I think they said they got like 20% of the letters. And at that point, it was like 20,000 letters, that they had. And so we was like, okay, well, we gotta figure it out. We gotta figure it out. How do we scale, such a problem for 20,000 letters? We gotta process these things. And so we need to access things like batch processing, to as well. So be able to handle, large and, thousands of letters and stuff, from there. And so yeah, so we, got us, so it was like best for, organizations and, already using Azure, um as well. Uh-oh. Can you guys still hear me?
You froze up right at organizations already using Azure. I can hear you now.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. Yeah, so we saw that it was best for already organizations already using Azure, and also to had it was cost effective, and so to be able to scale also scale the solution also using recognizing handwriting recognition, and then we also kind of did the same thing for for Google as well. We saw that some of the pros and stuff was also good at printed and handwriting text and everything. Also had integrations and everything, and also too they had additional kind of like additional kind of like a machine learning techniques as well. One of the cons we recognize is like, hey, the free tier was kind of limited, where Microsoft where Azure, it kind of gave you, it was a little bit more generous, on the free tier. So Microsoft, we gave us access to 5,000 transactions per month, um, for the first 12 months, and then also to Google only kind of gives access to 1,000 transactions per month and everything. So we said, okay, and so then we kind of go through like a final recommendation process after kind of like doing a deep dive and stuff there. And so, we set it up for Microsoft, it's best for processing thousands of handwritten letters, and it's also cost efficient and it has a strong handwriting recognition stuff as well. So we chose Microsoft to help build this tool and stuff there. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we told Microsoft to help build this tool and stuff there. Um, so we did it also to like a chart breakdown too as well. Also, too, guys, I forgot to mention too last time. We did a research for all this information and everything via prompt. So we use tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and things like that. And so we kind of we did a deep dive. So we got like different GPTs that we built to kind of like help us kind of like speed line some of these components. So when we need to figure out what's the best tool and stuff we use and everything, we just kind of like give it the tools that we're looking at, or also to will access to research additional tools as well. So we built this kind of like defined prompt and everything to kind of like help us kind of like speed this process as well, and that can be shared to us later as well. So for Google, Microsoft as well. So we kind of did like a breakdown of features and stuff there. So for Google, it says it has high support, multiple language, handwritten recognition. So it's excellent at integrating within Google Cloud system. It was good at scalability, and then typically ideal for individual companies already using GCP as well. And they have the cost breakdown, like which is pay as you go. And then also too, after the initial 5,000 on the free tier per month, the cost from there was $1.50 per thousand images or pages and stuff, if you will. Also, quick note too as well, if you're using something like PDFs, as well, it'd be good if you have a PDF as well. It's always good to put a PDF into one long PDF because it will kind of like charge you, or it'll recognize as like one image can be one PDF, and it'll be, if you have like a long PDF of 20 pages and everything, it's always good to kind of put that into one
So, like, if you've
as
got
well.
like 20 letters, put them all in one document. Is that right?
No,
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 no, no. So
no.
like, for example, like, say for example, you got a PDF of like your onboarding process for your company.
Okay.
Um, it's good to put that all into one. Long as the information is the same context, it's good to put that into one PDF versus having five PDFs that's talking about the same thing.
Got it. Got it. Got it. So you only pay once.
Yeah, 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 for that. And so then we're gonna break down like the implementation process. So, you need to set up an Azure account, which we'll go through here in a second. And then you need to create a computer vision resource on top of Azure through your Azure portal. You need to create a resource and everything, from there. And then you need to create a subscription as well. One thing I have recognized, and I know this match as well, the when you sign up for Azure, we're going to go through this in a second. When you sign up for Azure, what I've run into this problem. Go ahead and sign up. I think it's like O1. I think it's like O1 and O2 or something like that. I'm gonna see it instead. Sign up for the paid tier, because for whatever reason, when looking to make API calls on the free tier, it limits you where it's not supposed to. But if you sign up for the paid tier, you still get those free 5,000 transactions and everything. So don't feel like you're like, hey, they're about to charge, they're about to overcharge me, whatever it may be and everything. And so that's a bug and everything that I found. So just go ahead and sign up for the paid tier when you are kind of creating your resource and stuff there. But you'll still get access to those free 5,000 transactions per month as well. So then we got to create a resource group. We got to select our region as well. This is also to a very good process as well, because also, you will have times where the deployment is down, for on Azure. And so the deployment down, you can switch regions, and sometimes that can like help they can kind of help with the process, until the deployment process gets back up within Azure. And then you'll just name your resource. And then again, the pricing tier, like I said, I would say just choose a paid pricing tier for now. And then you kind of go and review and create. Then we got to get our API key and our endpoint and stuff there as well. And then we got to set to develop your development environment, and then we'll start to run those things and stuff as well. So we're gonna do this here in a second, and then I'm gonna show you how that process works. But also too, we also kind of go through the process just to make sure we're making the right decision, and then we'll ask our GPT to do additional research and anything of other potential, other OCR providers as well. So, Adobe has one. There's one at ABBYY Fine Reader. Amazon has one, and there's a platform called Tesseract as well. And so, real quick, so how does OCR work? Anything? This is OCR is just like one of my right now. It's kind of one of my favorite things and from my favorite tools, and because it's so many things you can do with it, so many different use cases as well. So the first process is like a pre-processing aspect and everything. And so what it does is it goes through that. It tries to remove like any unwanted marks, blurs. It recognizes like what I mentioned earlier with the example from the client that we have is Skyer. It has burn marks, things like that. So it tries to remove and kind of like limits some of those things. So the second step in there, it transitions, converts the image that it's looking at into black and white, because then it's easier to extract the text from that as well. And then it kind of goes into like the segmentation process from there. So let me want to switch screen stuff here. And also too, any questions, any thoughts or anything while I'm loading this up here.
So far, everything is clear.
I'm sorry.
Everything is clear so far.
Okay. All right, so let me load this up. All right, beautiful. Here we go. All right, here we go. Share. Okay. All right, here we go. So right now I am in Microsoft Document Intelligence Studio. So this is one of the this is the tool and stuff that we we decided to use and stuff here. So basically, this is kind of like a breakdown of how the document intelligence studio. I'm sorry, the document the AI, Azure AI document intelligence work and stuff in there. So so we got some examples and stuff here. So we have this is a letter and stuff here. As you can see right here, this is an issue. We have like this burn stain and stuff in the middle of this letter. So it's like even from the human eye, it's kind of like hard to it's hard to make out, what this is saying, So it's like further due consideration, maybe, then says the Chicago house, maybe, and those that you call and stuff, maybe. But I mean, even from the human eye, this is kind of like very difficult to make out and stuff here. Particularly, from the human eye, you're also not about to kind of like go through this process through 20,000 letters, so it's just like remember like we got 20,000 letters and stuff here that we kind of like need to observe and kind of like, get the information and stuff from. So this can be, be an issue and stuff here. But, we got a tool like, Azure that can kind of help us with that. So what we're going to do here, we're just kind of like, we're going to basically run an analysis on this document. And so basically what it's going to do, again, it's going to turn the document stuff into black and white. And then it's going to, one of the beautiful, beautiful things and stuff that I love, when it analyzes, it's going to go letter by letter, combine those letters word by word, as well. And it's going to then go to sentence by sentence, and it's going to paragraph by paragraph. But basically, what it's giving you is it's going to return to you a confidence score of everything that it's reading, which is just phenomenal because that will help you and stuff, in the long run and stuff here. So so here we go. So we got some results and stuff here already. So we got the International Harvester Company. And so if you see over here, make this a little bit bigger. So we got the International Harvester Company and stuff over here. So it's recognized as text. So it's International Harvester Company of New Jersey, incorporated. So we got also two. We got it recognized, and this is handwritten, so this is beautiful. So we got to recognize it says houses in Chicago, and stuff over here. It says the manufacturing of the, so we got that. And then we also too we got the Champion, Deering, McCormick, Milwaukee, Plano, Osborne, Harvester, and other lines of machinery. So beautiful. So it's sent to the office of the vice president. And then also too, it recognizes the date in Chicago, October 27th, or October 27th, 1914, as well. And this is sent to Mr. Chafflin too as well. And then boom, it starts off, with the information stuff that is reading through the paragraph. Now, look at this. Interesting to note and stuff here. It says, I have given further, and it kind of gets cut off. So it says, I have given further. Okay, what does that mean though? Now, also too, if you recognize that it's put that into this X section because it is broken off, it's put it into like two different paragraphs and stuff there, which are, that's not, fully correct and stuff there. But it giving you is brought in majority of the text where they can see because we have this big burn stain and stuff here. It's like in the middle of it. So we're gonna have burn stains, we got watermarks, we got rippings and stuff of the document. So and stuff you'll see, down here. You got rippings and everything in the document. Guys, again, these are documents from, early 1900s and late 1800s. And so, it's kind of been through the storm and stuff, if you will. Um, and then over here, we got the next section. It starts like a separate paragraph, if you will. And so say, hey, I can't really make out what this says and stuff over here, but with the indication that I do have and everything, this is the context and stuff that I brought in and stuff, and everything and stuff in there. Now, some of the results and stuff here. Now, I told you stuff before that it brings in a confidence score. It what it does is it goes letter by letter. It combines those letters, concatenates concatenates those letters together to make the word, and then gives you a confidence score of what it's reading. And this is going to be very, very crucial here in a second. I'm going to show you why. So we got the word new. It says, hey, I'm 99% confident that that's what it says. Everything it says new. Okay. Oh, that's awesome. It says Jersey. And it says, hey, I'm 98% confident, it says Jersey and stuff here. Everything. So we got 97% confidence on the word ink, houses, 91% confident, Chicago, 96% confident manufacturer, and so on, so on, so on, so on. And so we have these high confidence numbers. Oh, look at this. So we got champion. Let's see, where's champion? Yeah, right here. Champion's kind of small and stuff there. So we got champion. It says like, hey, I'm 70% sure there that it says champion. Which is, and I will say this too as well. As you're building these tools and as you're building solutions, one of the things to indicate is we have a rule for us. And I think you'll do your own kind of like research and decision making and stuff here. We have a rule for us with these examples and with these letters. Any letter that falls below 80% confident, we kick it out. We kick it out because for us and the research that we've done, we realize is that anytime something starts to fall below 80%, now you're increasing the opportunity for hallucinations. Now it could potentially start making up things. It can start to, put things to stuff that wasn't there. And simply, when you're building in a RAG application, which is retrieval augmented generation, when you're building a RAG application, when you're using your own knowledge, you want it to be as precise, as it possibly can be, and so, we have a rule internally, like I said, each area, each solution will be different. So sometimes, maybe 50% confidence would give you there. Sometimes you're going to need 95% confidence, kind of based off, what you're building and stuff there. So for example, if you're building a medical solution, you know, anything below 95% just may not cut it because, these are tools that, could make a life-changing wrong decision, and so we want to make sure that we're setting the guardrails around these things. And so I encourage you with each solution, figure out, what's the standpoint, what's the guideline stuff you want to do and stuff around this. And so even with this information that we have, we chose 90% and stuff there because we also understand that these documents have a lot of damage and a lot of kind of wear and tear. So we kind of want to give it some grace and stuff in that area, but also too, we still want it to be, as accurate as stuff as possible. Any questions, thoughts, or anything before I move forward and stuff here? All right. Okay. All right. So let's move forward. Let's go to down here. We got actually let's do this one. So we got another example. Now look at this. Now this is in cursive, so this is in cursive and stuff here. So, this just says, for me, the only thing I can make out is to whom it may concern, from the human eye and stuff here. So for me personally, that's the only thing I can make out and stuff here. But let's see how Azure, this OCR process does. How's it does. So we got personnel Chafflin. Okay, beautiful. Coconut Grove, Florida. Okay, beautiful. Look at that. I couldn't make that out initially. March 8th, 1913. That looks right and stuff there. And actually, let's dive into, I want to see what's the confidence and stuff that it has over there with that. So we got March. Oh, look at that. 49% confidence score. So not too confident, so I would say now we're kind of like getting to the element of guessing, what this says and everything, but it still did a pretty good job and stuff there. Then it says the eighth, and think, look at that. 8%, I'm sorry, 12% confident. So it's 12% confident there that says, eighth and everything. And it still was able to pull that in. And then look at 1913. Look at that. Look at that. 74% confident, stuff there. So it says, hey, I'm 74% confident that this says 1913. That's, there. So we got a 12% confidence on eighth. And we got a 49% confident here, on March. And so let's look at some of the so look at that. It says to right here, it says to whom it may concern, and it pulled in horn it thy cursora. Cursora and stuff there. And so so guys, you'll see that, even in cursive, there's it's challenging and stuff for it and everything. Um, it's challenging and stuff there for it. So then also too, the first paragraph, it looks like that may say in New York something something something. And look at it. I would imagine this probably start to kind of speak Spanish and stuff there. So it's like, hey, this is very, very difficult to to read, to understand. So, but I'm gonna show you some ways that we can kind of like not really get around it, but what we can do with that. So like it says, they 66% confidence, it says they concerna, everything, 47% confidence and stuff there. We got we got the there. That's a 92% confidence we have there. That says brave, maybe 46% confidence that we have there. Alpha, 28% confidence that we have there. Loft, 32%. So it's like, hey, this is getting pretty challenging stuff here at, okay, 43, 432, 91%. Fourth, 10%. Avenue, 60%. So it's like, hey, this is getting a little challenging here, guys. I may need some help and stuff here, but it's kind of giving you the results and everything of what it's seeing and what it's experiencing and everything, which is a beautiful process, because you can use this and you can build with this here to kind of like get some great results and stuff here. Um, so here I'm gonna reshare my screen here. So we got a question real quick. So it says, Antoine says, do we know what shifts the confidence score? The tool is right, but gives a low confidence score, handwriting versus typing, Italian versus tech, color versus. Great question. So one of the things that I've realized, Antoine and stuff there, is that colors definitely impact, because it does not recognize colors on the first level of this. So remember, uh, let's go back here. Reshare my screen here. Sure, let's just do this. All right. Okay, cool. So, yeah. So remember, like this process that we have with the OCR. So remember one of the first steps and everything that it does and stuff here, it converts the image into black and white, to simplify the recognition process. And so it doesn't, so if you have like a page written in from like red ink and everything, we could have some challenges and stuff there. So we'll have to write some additional codes for it to potentially recognize the red image, so the red ink, or we had to figure out some additional processes there. So definitely color definitely is an impact and stuff of it, as well. But also too, it's been trained on, handwritten. It's been trained on, recognizing text, too as well, through their models. And so, a lot of these models, may not have access or may have been properly trained on, cursive, handwritten, documents, information, from the late 1800s or even older, and stuff. And so a lot of those things can definitely, have impact and stuff with it as well. And so here, so that is that's just that's basically the process, of how this goes and everything per image. And then from there, it spits out, it gives you like all the information, kind of like in like one text block and stuff, if you will. And I'm gonna show you how to use that and stuff moving forward. And then we'll do one more and stuff here. So we'll do one more document. So put this over here. Okay, cool. All right, so we'll do one more document and stuff here. So let's zoom in. All right. So, look at that perfect example. So look at that. We got some red ink and stuff there. It turns that, into it turns the whole document into black and white. But also too, if this is red ink on a red page or this is red ink on a white page or anything, it just things can kind of get a lot more complex and stuff as you're going and stuff here. And so we brought in personnel, 1914 to Chafflin, also too. We got in the date and everything, which is November 28th, 1914. And then we got over here, we got Mr. Paul Chafflin. And then also too, we got the address, New York, New York. And then we kind of go into the letters is dear sir, and it brings in the information and stuff there. So same thing, same process within as well. So what's that? Personnel, we got a 77% confidence score, 98% confidence score with 1914. To Chafflin, 58% confidence score. Chafflin, 61% confidence score. November, 99% confidence score. 96% confidence score. And then, so on and so on and so on and everything. And so yeah, this side that is how the OCR process works. So again, it goes through. So bring it over here. So again, it goes through. It does try to do like a noise reduction. So basically limiting, trying to remove any unwanted marks and blur, but also too that can affect the word stuff that you may have, and then converts the image into black and white. And so in our, and then from there, it can starts to align the text and everything to kind of like scan it as well. And then it does the recognition process, the character recognition process. And so it goes through that process, kind of like letter by letter, word by word. I mean, essentially it's kind of like, loops, and then it outputs, everything, the information that is read. And so, it can do text, it can do PDFs, documents, things like that, to kind of like pull in this text as well. So here, I'm gonna stop sharing, reshare my screen here. Any questions, thoughts, and stuff, and anything before I move forward stuff here. All right. All right, cool. So here we go. Guys, I really believe we're at a critical moment in time, in stuff of history. I mean, so this is just one use case. I mean, this is a use case of basically, engineers and, AI practitioners partnering with, museums, historians, archaeologists, journal biographies, like where it may be, to kind of like, create a new, AI centric solutions, for visitors, readers, and stuff maybe to experience. And so, I definitely believe that, a lot of these type of projects and a lot of these type of solutions and use cases is definitely going to start to grow in with, because I think we'll need a lot more of these solution stuff being built. And so I think individuals like yourself will partner with historians and journalists and things like that to kind of like build, new rack application that is, integrated with stuff within artificial intelligence. And, hopefully you'll start to kind of like build a lot of those solutions, on top of, Azure and so on and so on. With that. Okay, cool. All right. So I'll tackle that here in a second. All right. So let me switch over here. So I want to make sure too that we understand just like some of the on the Azure side. Mm, all right, here we go. So yeah, on the Azure side, there's different models that Microsoft kind of gives us access to build on top of. And so what you just experienced there on with the letters, that is called the read model. From the Azure AI document intelligence. So that's the read model. We also have a layout model. We have a financial service and legal model that you can build on top of. U.S. tax model, personal identification, and then custom fields and so on and so on. And so real quick, I'm kind of like go through some of these examples and stuff that we have. So you just kind of really know and understand like the width and depth of opportunity that we have in front of us. We're using some of these models and like all these models are pre-built. So yeah, so the remodel, that's what one you just experienced and stuff there. So also too, we also have the same process with OCR. So we also too have the ability to recognize things like checks as well. So you have a pre-bit model that can recognize checks. So when you think about checks and everything, you think about things with like signatures. So I thought I had an example and stuff there. So you think about things with stuff like with signatures and things like that. So let's see. So we also got a bank statement model. So this is a documentation page. This is kind of showing, kind of getting you started and stuff there. Reading stuff, these models. Um, where is Hey, Matt, this is something to note too as well. They used to have like image breakdowns of each
Yeah,
model too as well for how it worked. Everything that'd be beautiful. We can figure out a way how to kind of get those backs and stuff here in the documentation.
that's great feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean this is just updated like a couple days ago. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Um, okay, yep. So here's an example right here. So business cards. So to be able to extract, data and everything for business cards, and stuff. And so you'll see that it can bring in the company, bring in the person's name, title, information, phone number, things like that, and it can store, all those things in a JSON. And so as you see again, guys, we got this confidence score that is having, make sure that it understands stuff what it's reading, as well. So this is one of those models where you can kind of be a little bit loose with and everything. So you can be a little bit with, so maybe the confidence score, maybe you don't want to fall below 80 or 70 or things like that, as well, because again, you guys, you're reading with this OCR process right here, this example, you're reading business cards. So business cards can be kind of folded up, bent up, crumpled up, it can be in somebody's pocket for X amount of time. It has some lint or stuff on it, and stuff like where it may be. And so, but this is an example of how you can extract this information and it be stored into like a JSON and stuff over here. All right. So also too, contract is another one of the examples too as well. And so contract would be one of those things where you can extract information from a contract. Um, So same thing too, a credit card, as well. So we see a lot of those. We saw a lot of these kind of tools stuff in real life where we're trying to access, when you're trying to upload your credit card to a platform, and sometimes it wants you to take a picture of it, and then it extracts information, and then it inputs it into the correct into the correct fields and stuff there. All right, cool. So here's a great example. Here's a health card, insurance card. Another other example. So to be able to pull in the insurance card company name, the member number, the medical network, or this person is on certain benefits as well, health saving plans, and so on and so on. So this is somebody's, somebody insurance card that can be uploaded. So again, this is a solution that can be built, for anything from a dentistry business or from a healthcare provider, so where it be. And so a lot of times, people want these type of solutions because it also makes their, their process and their operation and stuff a little bit faster and stuff there. Another example is ID as well. Now, this one can be very, 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 very useful and everything as well, because, as you know, there's a lot of uh, like scams and things like that, and identification, and stuff being kind of stolen and stuff there. So, if a business is looking for some type of process where like, hey, we love to scan in, the ID, and can we figure out a way how to like validate it, maybe like through like a DMV API or something like that, or from a state API that can validate these things. And so, a lot of these things can be built, and so you'll build these things with a tool like OCR, to kind of like extract the information. So I kind of, again, bringing in everything from the driver's license number, to the person's name, what class, as well, the DOB, address and everything. So over here too is another example of where it extracts information. And then you also have confidence scores of what it's reading, too as well. And so that's another great example of stuff there. Invoice. It's actually probably one of my favorite. So invoice and everything. And look at this. You're uploading an invoice. I mean, think about this is probably, in my opinion, probably one of the most largest examples or largest opportunities, for you guys. I would say this probably with a combination of like tax documents. The ability to, upload an invoice and that paper invoice or that printed invoice, where it may be, or even just, doing a drag and drop. So imagine building a solution for a business where they can just take all of their invoices and drag and drop into a folder or like an Azure store process of extracting this information. So again, so we got the company name, so where the invoice and everything comes from, the amount, the date, due date, the customer's name, service period, customer ID, who is billed to, shipped to, service address. And again, over here too, as well, it has the confidence score. And this is a beautiful process because you can take say for example, a business like, hey, we got to get ready. We're about to have a tax audit or where it may be. You can take all of their invoices and everything and just have them just drop into, an Azure storage, and then you connect your solution and stuff there. Everything kind of runs through this OCR process. And so for example, all this information can be extracted and put into like exported into like an Excel file, or it can be exported into whatever like accounting solution and stuff they're using. This is like that process. And so for a business who is about to kind of go through a tax audit, or for a business who's just kind of like trying to get a better understanding of like their billing, whatever it may be. I mean, tools like this for them can be life changing, and also too, it can be business saving, too as well. So these are tools and these are things that that you'll have the ability to build and stuff with that. I don't think layout shows anything. Oh, yes, it does. Okay, cool. So beautiful. So this is like a document and stuff as well. And so this could be like, imagine like those PDFs and stuff that we talked about before. And so it recognizes the page header, the title, the section heading, paragraph, the marks and stuff as well. But the beautiful thing about this as well, it can recognize checkboxes as well. And so it can recognize checkboxes, and you'll see this as well with the tax document. If you upload like a W2 form, 1098 and everything, there's certain things you got to check off. There's certain signatures that you have, so it can recognize, those things as well. And so this is one of the model stuff that Azure provides. And then also too, the figure, the graphs and things like that as well. So this is another model. And also too, guys, too, a lot of these models can be combined, to work together as well, or too, you can start to like create your own custom, models, where you can kind of pull in specific, specific information as well. Marriage has one. Okay, yeah, marriage has that one. I think mortgage document showed anything. Yeah, either. Okay, cool. Pay stub. Yeah, so pay stub be another one of those examples where you can kind of pull in, particular information. So, the amount, the taxes that it pulled out, things like that, as well. Okay, yeah, beautiful. Here's a great example. So receipt as well, I am somebody myself where I'm probably have to build a solution for my own stuff because I'm bad at keeping receipts. So the ability to just literally take all your receipts and just do a drag and drop into, an Azure storage and stuff there, and then your OCR process can literally take those receipts, take the extract information and stuff from them, and then start to import in those and stuff where they need to be and everything. And so, so that process and everything is just beautiful. And then also too, we just talked about the tax, as well. So, this right here is an area that impacts us all. This is an area that impacts us all, and that we definitely need to start to figure out, start using some of these tools to figure out how it can, help us not only understand, but also to how to automate, a lot of these things as well. And so yeah, these are some like the pre-bit models and stuff that Azure kind of gives you access to, right off the cuff and everything. So from there, you can kind of like build on top of it. So too, you can kind of do your custom, things as well. And then also too, they give you access to kind of build like custom models as well. So, those will take a little bit more work and everything. But yeah, so this is just like the, one of the main benefits of Microsoft Document AI, to be able to build, everything from RAG applications to, you know, not finding, but, making operations a lot quicker, smoother, transition, giving businesses, companies, your team the ability to process thousands of documents, everything, and have it all, organized and kind of sent to one place, with information. And so, using something like OCR on top of Microsoft Azure kind of gives you that user ability to do so. So questions, thoughts, concerns, or anything, stuff before I move forward and stuff here. Does it make sense? You mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
go ahead.
have a question.
Yeah.
In my case, in my country, Peru, companies issues different models of purchase orders. How can I lead with that? Because that means that I need to use a custom model, but uh, I have to collect all the different kinds of models in a great quantity to have a good accuracy when I try to guess what is the values in each part of the document.
Mhm. So are you asking so are you asking like how do you know which model to use, or how do you create your own
How,
custom?
how can I lead with that? I need to use a custom model because definitely it's not available from pre-built model because it's different layouts for each purchase order that are issued from different companies.
So
So
yeah, go ahead.
I need to I will need to get a great number of these documents to train a model.
So
That,
so so yeah, so great question. No, so you're on these, let me reshare my screen here. On these models that's presented and stuff here for us. All right, beautiful. All right, so with these models here that's presented for us, like these are already pre-trained and pre-built models. So you don't have to do additional training, everything to these models and stuff here. And so you don't have to do additional training. So these are already pre-built models and everything for us. And so now if you wanted to create your own custom model, and everything, then yes, you would have to have like a bunch of different examples or a few different examples of the documents or of the information that you want to extract and everything. And then you have to create fields. So for example, you have to kind of create these custom fields. So this field right here may be titled like, company name. This field right here would be titled like contact name. And you have to kind of create your own custom fields and everything. And also to kind of give it an indication of what it's looking for. And you do that by examples as well. But these models that's over here, these are already pre-built models that you have access. You don't have to do, any additional work or anything for it to get to understand, the information that it's looking for. So we did that example and stuff here. So this model right here is just a read model. So the read model, it just understands that, hey, you're going to give me a document, and my job essentially to just read the text and everything on the document. The first thing I'm gonna do is turn it to black and white. And the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go letter by letter, word by word, and I'm gonna get an understanding of what the information is on the document and everything. But you don't have to do any additional work or anything with that, because that's what the read model and stuff over here already does for us.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Great question. Any other questions? Questions, thoughts?
I'm just trying to digging into the documentation on creating custom models. That looks like a fun thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that definitely approaching the right use case and everything, and having the ability to have some examples and everything would definitely, you would definitely, needs it so you can be successful, and stuff there. But, yeah, it definitely, I mean, that can be a lot of fun and stuff there for sure. Any examples you want to dive more into? So like with those read models, so we had things, like personal tax, the mortgage one, receipts, invoice, if health insurance cards, contracts, business cards. Any examples you want to dive more into before we move forward? And also too, one of the beautiful things about, and this is one of the things I love about, being an AI engineer, AI solutions architect, whatever you want to call yourself. One of the beautiful things I love during this time period is you can build a solution once, and the fact that the model that you're using is getting better over time, which also means your solution will get better over time. Even if you don't do, no additional and stuff work to it. Now you may have to do like an update, of a library or a script or something like that. But the fact that you built, the solutions once or anything, your solution can definitely get better and stuff every over time. And it's just like it's a beautiful place to be. So if you've been building for some time, you definitely know that, you had to make iterations and stuff, thing as you move forward and stuff there, manually. But yeah, any other pre-built models you want to dive into before I move forward? So we got invoices, receipts, examples like health insurance cards, tax documents, pay stubs, bank statements, US checks, which is also probably a big one as well, you know, to kind of help with some solutions there for having people kind of get scammed. Credit cards, contracts, business cards. Any other example you want to dive into before I move forward? All right. All right, cool. All right. So, all right, let me bring up this document here. So now we're going to dive into kind of go through. I'm going to show you just like one of the examples and stuff here. One of the scripts that we wrote to kind of like help us get this solution and stuff like built and scaled out and stuff here. Um, yeah, help us get the solution built and scaled out and stuff here. So again, like we had to figure out a solution where we could be able to take these documents and the ability to process these letters, these information And then, kind of get this ready for, to be integrated into some type of like vector database, some type of solution. So we can build like a conversational conversation, AI tool stuff on top of it. All right. So give me a second. Lost my document. All right, there we go. Okay. All right. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go through the steps of setting up our computer vision. Like, so on my end, a lot of these things have already been set up and everything. So I'm just kind of like walk through the steps and stuff there. Okay. All right, beautiful. So if you haven't already, the first step is to create an Azure account and stuff here. So again, guys, you don't have to take notes on this part and everything. I will share this document and stuff with you near the end or stuff there. So the first thing we'll be able to create, create an Azure account. And then the next thing is we're going to click over here to computer vision. So we're going to click on computer vision, and then we're going to create a resource and stuff here. So we're going to create a resource and stuff there. So we got our resource and everything, and then simply we have to name our resource as well. So we got there. So we're just going to do test demo AI. All right, so we got test demo AI. And then we got to select our region. So we are on the East Coast and stuff there. And then we have you gotta name it and stuff as well. So I'm just gonna give it the same name. So guys, remember too, what I mentioned as well. Oh, there we go. So it's F0 and S1. So remember what I said too as well is uh still you got the free tier here, you got the standard cost here. Like I said, I've ran into issues where it's think I'm limited or whatever and stuff on the free tier. So if you just set up the standard, you still get access and you still get the 5,000 and stuff there, the free 5,000 documents per month. So there, so you can set that up. So still do the standard and everything. So don't be concerned that it's going about to and charge you and stuff there. So we're going to review and create. We're going to recreate and then we're going to create. So there we go. Our deployment is being initialized. Deployment in process. And then boom. So there we go. And now deployment succeeded in the dashboard. Okay, thank you. All right, so we're going to go to resources. And then now we have to get we have to get our keys and endpoint and stuff there. So we got to get our keys and endpoint and stuff there. So here we go. We got our keys and stuff, and we have we got keys here, and we got an endpoint and stuff here. So simply, you can copy your key, everything, and then create a dot. Either if you're using an IDE, if you're using IDE and everything, you put it into your secret key and stuff from there. But if you're using something, like a Visual Studio Code, you will create a .in file, and you'll put your information and stuff over here too as well. So, you put get your key and everything, and then also too, you put your endpoint and stuff there. And so once we have our keys and the endpoint and stuff there, and then we're kind of ready to start building and stuff that we're kind of ready to take off stuff. So let's we're gonna put this over here. So for now. All right. And here is one of the solutions that I built with the same example. So actually, let's close this one. All right. Okay, all right, cool. Here we go. Grab one of these letters. All right, let's do this one. All right, so now, so we have our process and everything and stuff set up and everything. So we already kind of like it. We got a good understanding of the process that it's going to do and stuff that it's going to take. And so we're gonna come back here. We're just going to, run the analysis and stuff again. Oh, actually, I'm really happy this showed up. So also too, that you'll recognize that there are size limitations per files. There are size limitations for your API calls, things like that. And so I actually wrote some code that kind of like helps you get around those and everything. So that's a beautiful intentional error and stuff there. So let's try another one. Document. All right, cool. So, all right, so we're gonna run this. Okay, this one sounds too large too. Okay, cool. Let's find. Where are... Okay. All right. So we're going. Okay, cool. There we go. All right. So over here too, it kind of gives you some starter code as well. So it kind of gives you some starter code when you're looking to build the solution. So it gives you some starter code. So I can make this a little bit bigger. Actually, can I? That's beautiful. There we go. So it kind of gives you some starter code and stuff there. So, we can copy and paste this as well to kind of like start you off. So again, guys, remember I'm in Azure's AI Document Intelligence Studio. We can upload a document. Actually, let's do this. Let's go back here. So if you just go to Document Intelligence AI Studio, I'm gonna put this here in the chat. Actually, Matt, can you put this in the chat? I can't see the chat right now.
Sure, we'll do.
Yep. So if you look at I'm on Document Intelligence Studio. So again, see a lot of these, we got the model stuff here. So we got the read model, and so that's the one we're using right now. So we're at the read model. It can extract, print it and handwritten text along with barcodes, formulas, font styles, and things like that, from images and from documents. And then too, we got the layout model, general documents and things like that. So, definitely take time to kind of like read some of the, the capabilities of each model. So you can kind of like know which solution and stuff to build. And then also too, some of the pre-built models that we talked about earlier, from invoices to receipts, to identity documents, health insurance cards, and so on, so on, so on. So again, guys, too, like look at this as well. Like all these are like new models that Azure has built for us, to build solutions on top of. And so I know last time US checks wasn't there, and wasn't available, but business card stuff were. And then going back to my friend's question and stuff there earlier, this is how you start to kind of like create, excuse me, this is how you start to kind of create your own custom model if you have like a particular document or like a very unique use case that you wanted to build, stuff there. So kind of going back and stuff here, we're going to start off with our read model. And so we're just going to pick one of the letters that we have. So we're just going to pick one of the letters that we have. We're going to run analysis, stuff there. And then, like I said, it gives us some starter code and stuff here to kind of get started with and everything. And so this right here is going to analyze the document, print out all of the text, gives you a confidence score what it read, kind of word by word, and stuff there. And it does the analyze, read, everything. So let's dive into the solution stuff that I built stuff here. Let me know, is this text too small? Probably.
That's good. I can read that. Oh, that's really good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Mhm. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna skim through. So remember, I took the kind of like the pre-built code and stuff here, and then there was additional things that I needed and I wanted to output, and stuff from there. So, before I dive in, some of the different libraries and stuff that I needed and I use, and stuff from there. And so um, as it's analyzing, I needed things, I need like a different library. So I use PDF Reader, which kind of like helps me summarize stuff that helps me import the PDF as well, because these documents that the clients have gave us, some of these documents are images, so they're JPEG, PNGs, but some of these documents also too are PDFs, too as well. And so we need to have the ability to read all files and everything that's given to us. And also too, we're using, Azure, and stuff here too as well. And then also too, we are using the document model and everything that Azure provided for us, as well. Now, here's where things get interesting. You recognize that as this things and stuff is run as well. And so I here
Hey, Marlon,
I
you froze up right at. Here's where it gets interesting.
all right.
Sorry.
Are you good? Let me all right, can you hear me?
Yes. Yep.
All right. You can still see my screen and everything?
Yep. Everything was good.
Okay. So also too, you'll see the Warner libraries and stuff. Um a library stuff that we import and stuff there is OpenAI. And so this is where things get interesting because, as you know, OpenAI does a beautiful job breaking down, text, and information stuff that you may, give it. Um and so yeah, so we got our inval, we got a .inval file over there with our secret keys, and I'll also too along with our endpoints and stuff over there. And so those files stuff are stored for us. So we're gonna load those in. And then also too, I needed on my info particularly and everything, I needed some helping, everything of understanding like the dates and everything and stuff that we have. So it just integrated some basic configuration stuff there. And also too, obviously we're going to fetch our, excuse me, obviously kind of going to fetch our API keys, as well. So I, on my end, I was kind of like, I have it printed. I have it printed just to make sure those things stuff working. But I have it also too as well where it doesn't print the it doesn't print the entire document. It doesn't print the entire document and stuff there. It just simply, kind of like gives me a response like, hey, I recognize there's some API key stuff over there as well. And then from there, we're going to initialize the Azure document. So it's going to say like, hey, the first thing I want you to do is just simply try, try to go ahead and recognize the document, upload it and stuff there. And so it's going to upload the document and then it's going to tell me like, hey, the document that I currently have that I'm reading right now has been successful. Appreciate it and everything. And if not, everything is going to say like, hey, there was an error and stuff where they recognize this document and everything. And then it'll tell me stuff what that error was. And so though error can be multiple things, it can be anything from your subscription is expired and there's a billing issue, the file is too large, it could be several different component stuff there. And then we're going to, pass some of these things over to OpenAI. So here's where things actually, let me pause for any questions, thoughts, and everything before I move forward and stuff here. Anything in the chat there, Matt?
Hey, hi, Venkata here. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, how this Visual Studio Code different from Azure AI's Document Intelligence Studio? Are we using a excerpt of code from there and running it locally, or is it something like deploying a model onto using the existing model so that we can run it for the document extraction? Something like that.
Yeah, no, great question. Like literally what I'm doing because like this is like a real life use case. That I'm just sharing this guys and stuff with you that a solution that I built, a real life solution that I built for a client. And so simply I took the kind of like the template of what it gave me from Azure Document AI, and I simply just kind of I tried to build on top of that, based on the solution that I need to output, as well. And so this is just like the template and stuff there that it gives you. It's a great place to start with, as well. But then you'll start to realize that there's additional things that you may need, for your solution, and you just kind of start to like build, additionally, for your use case and everything. Mm-hmm. And so, every use case would be different and everything, but great question and stuff there.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
All right. So let's go back over here. Okay, beautiful. All right. So now, does everybody understand and be transparent? Here there's nothing wrong with knowing or not knowing and stuff. Does everybody understand how embedding works?
Go ahead and give us a quick overview, please.
Okay. So, embedding works, and once like once a model has a segment of text and everything, this is how embedded works and everything. So, the first thing and stuff it does is it takes all the text and stuff that it has, and it starts to understand and gets understanding of like different texts and everything. And so let's think about this as like let's think about this from like a library example. So if you want to start to kind of like work with embedding from a library example, the first thing you need to do is like you need to analyze the books. So the books, the themes, the characters, the titles, the authors, and things like that. And so you need to start to like analyze the books. The second part of that is like once it has an understanding of the books itself, it will start to assign like a numerical number or a code and everything to these books and everything. And so this process is called vector or vectorizing and stuff, if you will. So it would start to capture like the meaning and stuff behind like the book and everything, or the meaning behind the author, the titles and things like that. And then from there, that process makes it easier for the computer to understand the relevance and everything between each book. So for example, if I just got that the first Harry Potter versus the next Harry Potter, those things have a similar understanding. So like for example, Harry Potter book, numerical value may be 7. The next origin of that book may be 8 or 9 or so like that. And so that's how the computer understands their process of when it's like need to start to either respond in similar categories, similar areas and everything, or even kind of give you responses of like your favorite books, your favorite movies. So this process also too what Netflix does. So once you watch a movie, it gets an understanding of the title, the character stuff in that movie, the origin around that movie, sometimes even the script of that movie. And once it has that information, it has an understanding that if you like these type of movies, then numerically there's a chance that you may like, these next categories of movies, or, this next movie that this your favorite actor and stuff may be. And so, this process, I kind of took advantage of that as well throughout the solution that we built here, for Viscalia. And I start to use OpenAI to help us, with that standpoint. So, um, actually, I want to do this. Let's go. Okay. So let's do, we're gonna go over to OpenAI's API. All right, cool. Beautiful. That's what we need. Okay, cool. So also too, guys, I'm writing this, I'm writing these solution stuff over here in Python as well. So if you hopefully you've used and hopefully if you've written some prompts or some things or anything on through the API with tools like OpenAI. And so once you need to like set up a something like a chat completion, which is simply you're giving your AI a role and stuff here. You're giving it a role and everything, and you're telling like, hey, with this, I want you to be like a helpful and assistant, and I want you to be a helpful assistant. And it says like, hey, when it says write a haiku about recursion and programming. And so that's the assignment and stuff that you're giving it. So this right here, guys, like this is like where things can get really interesting, because how creative you can get, with this is just some of like your best, your best outputs and stuff that you're going to have and stuff in these areas. And so let me see if we can find another one that's text. Cool. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, and then also too, understanding like which models and stuff to use and everything. So, uh, you can use different models and stuff here. OpenAI offers GPT-4 Omni. You still got GPT-4 Mini, which is a cheaper use case and everything. So kind of based on your price point and like what you want to do, how specific you need to do. So, definitely, kind of like, doing some research and everything on, which models may give you the best use case and stuff here. So right here, like for Omni, it says we'll offer a very high level of intelligence and strong performance while having cheaper costs. It says offer GPT-4 Omni Mini. It says offer intelligence not quite on the higher level, for larger models, but it is faster and less expensive, per token. And then also too, you got the new O1 model, which is the regional model. It is slower in returning results and uses more tokens to think, but it's capable of advanced reasoning, coding, and multi-step planning, too as well. So definitely, as you're looking kind of some of these things, and definitely kind of do some work to figure out which model stuff may be better for your use case. So again, guys, I've been working, with these things, so I have a good understanding of like, this is right here is very, very, just it's a great use case and everything, but it's very straight to the point. It's just it's like, hey, you're a helpful assistant, and just like, hey, write me a haiku about recursion, and programming, or it may just say like, hey, summarize this information that you're about to get, from this endpoint, or it may say like, hey, rewrite this into a different language, or where it may be. Now, here's how quickly in advance and just very specific, things can get, everything within your use case. And so again, guys, remember, we're building this for our client, Viscalia Museum. And so Viscalia Museum they have a guideline of how they would like their internal employees to cite information. They have the guideline on how they like their internal employees to write information. They have a guidelines of just like how, the basically like the guideline stuff around this. Now, beautiful enough, they gave their employees and stuff this, and one of the team members stuff that I'm working with on their team, they gave me access to these guidelines too as well. Now, remember that these letters are from the late 1800s and the early 1900s. So you can imagine that for the most part, although it was English, it was kind of a different kind of form of English, if you will, and so it made it different. They have like a different, I would say dialect, but it had like a different form of English and everything, as well. And then also too, it's writing, it's writing, it's cursive, and it's all the different things like that. Now, how do we take that type of like, let's call it old style English, and to format it and to translate it into a today's, type of, language, stuff as well. So we use processes like embedding sample with that, but also use tools with OpenAI, to kind of like help with results and stuff like that. And so the client didn't ask for this, but I integrated because I thought it was fun and I thought it was a good surprise and stuff for them. Is, remember, the whole project and stuff there is like they wanted to take, these letters. Where is they wanted to take these letters, and they wanted to, take the letter, extract the text and everything from these letters and everything, and then, store them, prepare you to be able to build a conversational, agent and stuff on top of that, and stuff. And so now we're extracting, like, we've done that process and everything. We're about to go through this process now. What we're done, we're going through that process stuff now, but now it needs to start to prep itself to understand key things. It needs to understand the information that it's reading. It needs to understand how to properly respond. Also, too, it needs to understand what questions do not respond to, as well, and everything. What if the person who is reading this, since a lot of these letters are public and everything, what if the person who's reading this wants to actually see the origin or the original letter? How do you do that and everything? So here we go. So again, like this right here is an example of just like, a prompt and everything that you give your chat completion stuff there on the OpenAI side. You give it this role. So you get a role. So it's like, hey, you're a helpful assistant, then you give it this task, and stuff there. Like this is beautiful, but it can get way more advanced than this. It can get way deeper than this. And right here, I'm gonna show you an example of that. So this is what I call the mega prompt. All right, so sorry about that. My computer's gonna do it out of stir. I'm not sure why these messages are coming through. All right, so I'm not gonna read entirely through this or anything, but look at the format, number one, that I gave in like this meta prompt. It has a task, has an overview of what it's going to do. I've given it writing guidelines, I've given it formatting guidelines, and then from there, I've given it steps. And then I've given, it output format. I've given it examples on everything, and just some additional things to like think about, as we're kind of like building this. And so, guys, again, this is my role. And so this is my, the assistant and stuff I assigned to it. It has a clear definition of stuff, what it can do and stuff. So, so it's going to summarize historical content related to Vizcaya into an 8th grade reading level. I think that was very key as well by following these specific, guidelines and everything. And so it says, hey, you're going to summarize historical content from the late 1800s in the early 1900s related to Vizcaya, making it understandable for 8th grade reading level. It says the model should follow provided writing and formatting guidelines and stuff, and historically accurate and accessibility, to as well. It says, and then right here is some of the guidelines that the team and stuff they provided, and as well. So it says like, hey, says refer to conveyance rather than sale. And so remember too, James Deering in these letters, he's orchestrating, he's orchestrating sales. He's buying art and everything. He's doing transactions. He's doing these things, and so they wanted to make sure that it says always refer to conveyance rather than the sale. They use conveyance when describing the transfer to Vizcaya to the counting, but it says emphasizing the gifting nature of the transaction out of respect for James Deering descendants. Like this is something that number one I wouldn't have ever thought of. This is like they're already kind of doing this work and stuff here. It says also too, always explain historical figures. Always explain who James Deering, people like Paul Chafflin. We saw examples over in the letters. Let's see if it's still up. Yeah, so we saw examples over here in the letters, or Mr. Paul Chafflin, of like who he sent his information. Oh, that's Mr. Hoffman. But yeah, so we saw examples in his letters that who he's always communicating to, stuff in these letters. So it says like, hey, always explain who James Deering, Paul Chafflin, and other relevant figures are. Do not assume that the reader has prior knowledge, and stuff over there. Tone, we can give it a tone. Use a tone that is respectful, accessible, friendly, welcoming. Humor and wit is acceptable in moderation. Everything. So again, guys, it can get very, very detailed and stuff here, as well. Clarity, and also to be simple. It said be simple, be clear, simple, concise, define uncommon words, or just simply, or simply within the sentence and stuff there. Reader sensitivity. It says respond to the needs of the diverse reader, avoid stereotypes, avoid presumptions, statements that may make the readers feel uncomfortable, and or uniform or anything. Also too, this also too is where it's actually a good state. This is a good moment stuff here. This is also too what you can do to avoid stereotypes. Now, watch this. Stereotypes is definitely different per business. It can be different per community. It can be different per state, too as well. So none of the models that we have is going to just simply cover the entire board for everybody and everything. That's insanely hard to do, but us as builders and everything, we can take the baseline that we have, and then we can kind of give examples of like, what, different stereotypes may be, underneath like this kind of umbrella and stuff here. It says avoid technical jargon. Say when using art, historically, or technical terms, example, Baroque. Provide brief examples, brief explanations, and what it means, including the time period, and cultural context and everything. So this is gonna be very crucial. The time period is gonna be very crucial here. I'm gonna show you an example and stuff here in a second. Formatting guidelines, it has the ability to, do that too as well. Anytime you reference things like songs, plays, films, books, you need to italicize these things, using quotations for articles, article titles and short stories, italicize both the foreign word and the English translation, translating foreign words and within the English, within the English parentheses, italicize foreign words unless they are a part of title in quotation marks, and so on, so on, so on, so on, so on. And it kind of gives us some steps and stuff here and everything. It says understand the context, thoroughly understand the provided, historical text, focusing on the 1800s and early 1900s, simplify to an 8th grade level, always provide context and everything, and then follow, the guidelines and stuff here. Response length. Summarize each historical context in a piece within 1 or 2 paragraphs, ensuring it is concise but informative. Structure. Everything. Actually, I need to update this and everything. This is to a different API. The structure, you can use different, just like, text. If you want to use Markdown, you can use this, or also too, you can use things like docx and everything if you want to output these things into like a document, as well. And then tone, as well. Actually, I want to get rid of this real quick. Cool. Actually, and then tone, as well. And so tone and maintaining an accessible and friendly tone using, humor as well. And it kind of gives you an example of, input, and it kind of gives you an example of an output, stuff there. And so again, guys, you can get extremely detailed, with your prompts or everything to kind of give a proper guide when we're going to send, this information to OpenAI, and they kind of like help us, in this area. So here we go. So with that, the first thing I asked it to do is like, hey, once you read these letters, once you get the text from these letters, what I need you to do is I need you to create me an AI summary, of those letters and everything. So simply just kind of summarize what you've read. That's the only thing I need you to do. Everything. So summarize the stuff what you read. And then I kind of gave like a max tokens of 1,000 because I don't want like a very long, summary and stuff there. Anything. Next thing is what I need you to do is extract people information. Anything. So the people that you see, any people that you see talked about in these letters, what I want you to do is to extract those information, extract those people, and give me the people that has been talked about in particular, stuff in this letter. And then also too, I need the document title and stuff in there. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not document title. This is context. So here as well, I want you to scan the document itself and everything. I want you to tell me from the information that's on this document, is this document a letter or a telegram? Everything. And so for the client, this is very useful and stuff in there. And then also too, from the letter, from the document and stuff that we have, I'm gonna bring this up back over here as well. Also too, want you to give me the address that's mentioned, in this document as well. So give me the address that has been identified in this document, in that process as well. And also too, give me the date. So give me the date that's mentioned and everything too in this letter. So once you find a date and everything, give me the date in this letter. And then also too, give me the date and everything in this type of like, format as well. And so from there, so we're using OpenAI to help us, essentially, we're using OpenAI to help us and everything like read the information. So once we use Azure to get all the context and information, we're going to send it over to OpenAI, and OpenAI is going to summarize it for us. It's going to highlight key people in this. It's going to highlight key dates in this as well. And I think one of the crucial parts of this as well. Remember some of the letters that we have, it may have a big burn stain in the middle of that letter. So what do you do there? What do you do there? Remember, it's going to give you the context of the entire letter. So it's going to give you the context of the entire letter, in that process as well. But the beautiful thing about using tools like OpenAI and using tools like OpenAI, they do a very, very, very good job of filling in the gaps. So basically, if it's missing words, in there, it's just missing words, it can have a very good understanding of what words should be in that, in the midst of, in the middle of that as well. Now, remember as well with us over here for our use case, we're also pulling in the confidence score. We're pulling in the confidence score, of those letters as well. So if it's below for us, if it's below an 80% confidence score, we don't use it. We're going to kick it out. We're going to also mark like, hey, this letter fell below a confidence score. So like, hey, this is going to just be in a separate folder and everything. And that so far has been a beautiful process because like we got letters and everything. Like, again, it's a couple thousand letters and everything. So we got letters where like, it's a big burn stain and you just can't make it out what it says and everything. Or it was sitting on top of another letter and it became water damage. And so that ink bled into the next letter. And so now it looks like it's like kind of like two letters merged in one. Is really, really hard to like make out, and stuff there. And so, yeah. And so then, we're using the, the pre-built red model and everything for Microsoft as well. We are analyzing the confidence score of every single letter as well, because it's very important. So again, remember, if I said I said, oh, somebody had a question there?
I'll just ask real quick because I'm kind of.
Yeah.
Can you distinguish between the confidence score for a letter, as in something from the alphabet, versus the confidence score for the entire document of a letter? Are
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. So we take the confidence score of every letter, every word, and so we combine those. So it combines those into words, and stuff over there. So we take the confidence score of every word, and then for us, we combine the confidence score of all words together, so we can understand what the document entirely may say, and so from that, it gives us an average of every confidence score per word and stuff, across the entire document. So, for example. So for example and stuff here, it's going to give you a confidence score. It's going to give you a confidence score over here of like 90%, 80%, like 95%, 70%, and so on, so on, so on, so on. And so what we did is like, okay, if the entire document there has a high confidence score, we're pretty confident that we can use OpenAI to help fill in those gaps. And then also too, that limit us to things for any type of like hallucinations as well. And so from there, this is why we do like, hey, if that confidence score below falls below 80 and everything, we're not even going to use it, so that because we don't want to kind of go through that process of just like, making up things and stuff, if you will.
I think that knowing that you want it to fill in some gaps, but having to believe it's filling in the right stuff is still a really interesting problem for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
because that's gonna be different per use case as well. That's gonna be different, per problem. Because also too, as you're using a different document model over there from Azure, a using a tax document here. Let's go over here real quick. Just saw it. Actually, we do the insurance one. Yeah. So using like something like this, like we need extremely, extremely, extremely um, high confidence scores. I would argue probably in every document field because, this is things that, potentially can impact individuals' health. These are things that can impact the business and their how they process the insurance, and stuff. And so we need high confidence scores, in every single category, and stuff there. So, there's additional ways you can do, you may if it's a low confidence score and everything, you may just output it and everything, but you also may flag it, for a human in a loop to come in and put in manually, what the information and stuff may be, and stuff like that. And so, like this, that's also why I said too as well. We make every intention to build, with the team, build with the human because it's not gonna be perfect. That's one thing, and I think that's the thing to notate there. It's not gonna be perfect, as well, but in this type of example, for something like, insurance cards, that needs to be very, very high, like, the kick out there, we may not want anything to fall below 95%. So if it falls below 95%, then we may want to capture, that image or anything and put it in a separate file, and then, notify, an engineer or a team member or one of their teams like, hey, I need you to kind of like come in and, update this information, and stuff there. So yeah, so it's definitely it's different everything, per use case, everything. And so definitely taking the time to know what the client may need, know what your use case and stuff, needs to be. It'll definitely take you a long way. All right, so we're gonna go back here. Oh man, it keeps moving. All right, let's Da-da. All right, cool. So we got that process. All right. So again, so we're using so once it kind of goes through the process of scanning the letters and extracting information, as long as the letter that it is scanning or so and everything is above an 80% 80% confidence score, only then will it do the process of generating, a summary, extracting the people, determining, getting the determining if the letter is a letter or a telegram, extracting the date, the address, and so on and so on. And then from there, we take all the information and then we store it into a JSON and everything. And so we store it in JSON in particular because we're kind of getting ready, to basically store some of this information into a vector database. There's other files and everything you can do that with and everything, but particularly, we like the JSON and everything for the solution and stuff there. And then also too, also understanding like, again, it needs to have the ability to read multiple different file types, so everything from PDFs to JPEGs to PNGs, and so on and so on. And if we have like a weird file and stuff in there, then typically it is kind of skipping it, but it also notified me as well. And also too, here's a key one too as well. Remember I said that there's a file size limit, in particular around PDFs as well. So, we kind of grab the file size and everything, and then if it is a large file, then we kind of break those files up into two, and then it processes each file by itself. Each file one at a time, and everything, and then it compiles compiles the results of those files back into one, and then kind of keeps that process and stuff going. And so here's some of the resizing and everything, if it needs to be so as well. And then it gives the confidence score. Again, that was the one above was for the images and PDFs and so on and so on. And then from there, we simply just run a file. And so here, let's do that now. All right, so we got some files and stuff over here, all right, already, as well. So we're just going to run our file. And I'm gonna stop it here in a second too as well, because there's a lot of files in there, and it definitely will run for quite some time as well. And it'll do some bad process. So we already got some good responses and everything as well. So we got responses of 200, which means that's good. Things are working. And so like you see that document analysis computed in process, it is generating an AI summary. I know it's moving kind of fast stuff there. But it's going through that process. There you can see right there, generating AI summary. So, and then I'm just going to stop this stuff here as well. So let's see, let's go back here. So yeah, so we got one of the files documents that we have there. It was generating the AI summary. It was extracting the people information, determining if the document was a letter or a telegram, and it was pulling in the document date as well, pulling in the address information, everything. And then once it's done at that, it's saving that to the JSON. And then also too, I wrote some additional code up there to like, hey, every time you process a document, I would like to know the title of that document and which one should process, and just kind of giving the information back to a TXT. So with that being said, here's the results when I'm and stuff here. So results, like I said, the results here are stored into a JSON and stuff, there. So the content is here. This is what we pulled in from Azure AI, from the document aspect. So it simply gives us, so it's just like this. So the content stuff there, it gives you all the content, and stuff like just like this. It gives you all the information that it pulls in, and stuff like that. So it gives you all the information. So this is what we get right here from Azure's AI. So it pulls in all the information and stuff that it has, in this like kind of like this long stuff format. And then, like I said, we wrote some additional code and stuff there. So it's like, hey, I also need to know how confident are you with, with the information that you have. And so right here, it says, hey, with all the information I have, I am 92% confident. Okay, beautiful. That's pretty high and everything, stuff there. So it's also too, it extracted some of the people. So it gives me the date that was mentioned as well. So the date that we have here is July 29th, July 29th, 1915. It says it couldn't find, a proper address and stuff in there. It was fine. So that address may have been kind of blurry or things like that, which is fine, but also here's our AR summary that we got back from OpenAI and everything. It says, so also remember too, it says in our kind of mega prompt that we gave and stuff here, it says always explain who James Deering is. Everything says always explain, in it. So says James Deering, a wealthy industrialist focused on creating a beautiful garden, at Vizcaya in 1915. So boom, right there off the bat, it gave us a quick sentence of who James Dean is and everything. So it wasn't going to wasn't going to rate on the user to get an understanding or go back and Google who James Dean is or whatever it may be, and they already knew. But again, we're not going to make that assumption because that's what the client and stuff want. It doesn't want to make the assumption that it already knows and stuff like what it is. It says boom. It says James Deering focused on creating beautiful gardens at Vizcaya in 1915. Excuse me. Said visitors would arrive by carriage and entering through the impressive road and leading to the grills where they could see the stunning and lake and landscaping. Says once they explored the area, they could exit through the special service road or the plaza provided through for the great views and so on and so on. And so basically it gives us the breakdown, the summary and everything, of that letter and everything. And it's going to do this, letter by letter by letter by letter, which is great because then once we pass us over to, a vector database and everything, or if we just want to, take the AI summary and kind of build on top of that, we successfully extracted, the letters from the late 1800s, early 1900s. we've passed it over to OCR, which is optical character recognition from the computer vision software from Microsoft Azure. We passed it over to read the content and stuff over here. And then from that content and everything, we've also asked for some help and everything from our friends at OpenAI, actually too, we got the content, but also too, we got the average confidence score, that also too provided by Azure as well. And then from our friends over at OpenAI, we got an understanding of the people that's being mentioned in that document, the date that's been mentioned in the document, if there's any address, we've asked for an AI summary. And then also too, it's recognized that this is a letter and not a telegram, as well. And then also too, it provided us the name of the document that it got this information to is from as well. So this is also too how we avoid, it's also too how we avoid, um, making up things. We reference the stuff where you got the information from, and then along with that process too as well. I say like, hey, I need to know how many letters have you processed. Just give me the letters that you processed and everything. And so this is just my own records as well. So as you can see, it's already done like a couple hundred letters and stuff in there as well, and it kind of gives me the name for it. But also too, a beautiful thing to see over here. Here's some of the letters that fell below an 80% confidence score. So look at this. So it says like, hey, and it's interesting because like this letter is kind of blurry and everything. So it might have had challenges, reading this. Boom, look at that. What does that say? How someone else, yeah, tap out, you know, everything. But look at that. It's doing a great job. So right here, it looks like this letter could have got water damage, and the letter on top of it or behind it start to kind of bleed into it, you know, everything. Like some of the ink started bleeding to it, and now it looked like kind of like one letter, kind of like, you know, sandwiched on top of each other. But that's great, you know, there. Like now we context, even maybe two totally different, you know, people trying to communicate to two totally different, you know, transactions and maybe trying to happen. And we don't want to try to force it to get an understanding of that. We're just simply just going to kick it out, you know, in that process. But you know, this is one of the letters here that fell below, you know, 80%. Maybe we saw that one. And so another one and stuff there fell below 8%. So looks like some of the blurry letters, you know, stuff has fallen below, you know, 80%. You know, this is a little bit blurry, you know, stuff there as well. Now look at that. So this one there, you know, has a few burn stains, has a few, you know, markings, you know, and stuff there. And it says like, hey, and actually, is that backwards? Ha, that's backwards. That's awesome. Man, it looks like the image stuff is backwards, in which that doesn't happen a lot and everything. But that's great to see. And so we may take this and reverse it and put it back to the process if it can so it can, it can recognize it and stuff there. Yeah, yeah. What does that say? I mean, maybe that's a list or so. Maybe, you know, transactions and stuff. I mean, I don't know. Maybe tasks, to-do lists. You know, but also too, like I said, like some additional ink and stuff bled into it as well. But I mean, you know, great job from Azure and stuff over there on the OCR process, recognizing like, hey, I can try to pull in some of these things, but man, I have no clue what some of that stays. And even from the human eye, you know, it's kind of hard to make that out to as well. Like December 21st, 1974, maybe? No, that can't be right. 1914, maybe, and stuff there. So yeah, that's hard to make out from the human eye. And then we got some burn stains, burn markers over here too as well. And yeah, here's another example, cursive as well. You know, it can pull in some of it, but if the entire document itself falls underneath the 80%, like, hey guys, we're gonna kick it out. You know, we don't want to enter in, you know, a lot of aspects of hallucination and stuff, you know, as well. And then there's another example as well, you know, back in cursive, and then it kind of has some, maybe this is two-sided, you know, maybe this is some letters kind of like bled, you know, stuff, you know, on top of there too as well. Like, you know, who knows? But you know, we're not going to force it and stuff there. We're going to identify that these some of them letters that it didn't process, and we're going to kind of send this back to the client and stuff. And so maybe they want to insert these things manually, or maybe they want to, you know, try again and stuff, like who knows, like that. But you know, we're not going to force it and everything on our end. But I think this one right here is probably like the best example, you know, of, you know, probably like the best example of stuff there of like how this process and everything works. But again, so you see over here too as well, like we've processed dozens of these letters, and you know, all these are just different, you know, examples and stuff here. You know, we process, you know, so many different of these letters, and so we have all these results and stuff there. You know, and oh, here's a beautiful example and stuff as well. So I mentioned too as well. Um, if the document is too big, it'll kind of cut it in half. So here we go right here. You know, we got a page one, page two example and stuff there. So that's awesome and stuff there. But yeah, these are like just different results and everything that we run and everything. So just again, guys, just using that type of solution, using that type of technology, you know, so you know that Microsoft has provided for us, you know, for as engineers, and like it makes these it makes these processes that, I mean, it could have took, I would imagine, 20,000. Matt, take a guess. 20,000 documents and summarizing from a human standpoint, you know, everything. How long you think that'll take? Let's just say like a 10-person, 5-person team. How long you think they'll take an organization?
Can I use Excel?
Yeah,
But yeah, I
even
mean, if one person reads 100 documents a day, 20 people are going to read, 2,000 documents in a day, you're still talking about like 2 weeks of people work.
Yeah, 2 weeks and stuff of labor, and then
Yeah.
also too,
Yeah.
now then we and this is no shame to nobody, but we're human. You can make mistakes, just like the AI can, and everything,
Yeah.
and so there can be some errors there. We're trying to analyze, we're trying to read and stuff. There, it's like and that's I would say 100
So,
documents.
especially
Go ahead, go ahead.
if you're paying the people, by the document too, they're not going to throw out any that they can't read. You're going to
Yeah,
be paying for a bunch of bad results.
yeah, that too as well.
Yeah.
And so just like taking that process and now like building a solution like this, and now it can read thousands of documents, everything in a fraction, of the time, and stuff as well. So yeah, I mean that whole process, is just, remarkable and everything and stuff in the end. So thoughts, questions, and stuff that we have there. Any questions, thoughts? Okay, can you
Hey,
go back? Yeah.
hi, Ori. Venkata again. So, um, just few questions. Um, so I mean, there are some scenarios, right, where the file or image size is huge, or maybe it is say like 10 pages in particular.
Hmm.
Suppose say if on the page one, if you have something burned down, as in the text is not visible, right?
Hmm.
But on the supporting front, there is a similar text on the say page 9.
Hmm.
Can we have the capability of say correlating the information from page 1 to page 9, something like
So,
that?
so let me make sure I understand. So, are you asking, say for example, you have a large PDF, and let's say you have 10 pages on the PDF, and as the OCR process is reading, it recognizes the first page, but that doesn't recognize page 9. Like, how do you like still kind of get to output those
Yeah,
things? Is
connect.
that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful question. So here I'm gonna show you an example. Tu- tu- tu.
And again, the models the open AI models we are using, there can be difference in terms of efficiency, right? Can we like change those models on the go, as in um, basing on a case-to-case basis?
So hold on. Let me. I'm gonna go through the first answer and stuff
Okay.
first, and then I'll come back to the second one. Um. So. All right. So here, uh, to your the question that you actually asked or anything. This is exactly where I kind of like wrote the script this way. So you'll see here that this is page one of this same file. This is page. So if the image
Yeah.
there is too large or anything, it starts to break up. So this is page one of the same file, and this is page two. Now, page one could have a 97% accuracy and stuff there, and so as we're about to import this into our vector database as well, page two could have a 14% accuracy stuff there. So then we know not to use page two from the same file,
Okay.
to as well. And so, that's the kind of like why we break it up, as well. So it will recognize, multiple pages and everything in the same PDF, but then it will start to like break it down to page by page so it can understand the context, but also still kind of like give you still like the summary, and
But
information, and everything per page as well.
sorry if I did not follow this. So the average confidence here, right? Is it coming from Azure AI Document Service or the OpenAI model we are using?
It's coming from Azure. Yeah, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
coming from Azure. Yep. Yeah. So here, let me bring this back up over here. All right. So I'm just gonna use this. I'm gonna upload them. So remember over here, Azure is already giving us the confidence score. So it's already given us everything, the confidence score and everything per word and stuff there. The only thing I did is I said, hey, the confidence score that you have per word and everything, I want you to concatenate it, combine it, and then give me the confidence score and everything for the entire document, as well. And so
Mhm.
that's how we use it. But yes, Azure is giving the confidence score on there from their model.
Okay.
Great question. Mhm. What else? What else? What else? Any other questions there? Okay, so you have some Matt or
Oh, you know me. I'm starting to play what if. Like, well, then I could do this. And, so I'm thinking this opens up, if I'm a researcher and, knowing like, okay, between these dates, who did Deering write to the most and who did he write to the least? You start to get some interesting insights there. Like, what was going on at this point that he reached out to this person he'd never talked to before, or, you know, it's you, it unlocks a lot. I mean, not just reading for the sake of reading and, spending time with James Deering, but the, I mean, I imagine the folks at, Vizcaya, um, I don't know what challenges they've got with understanding their past, but um, there's some powerful stuff that you can do as a, as someone, and I'm coming at this from like, someone with a humanities background who's not writing code. I mean, it's
mm,
such a powerful tool for like, you know, someone who just, deals with paper, for example, or whatever. Yeah, it's
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, you definitely start to unlock things that you might have skipped over. You start to unlock
yeah,
things that you might have missed. To as well. And so we can lean on these tools and these services to kind of like unlock new segments of history that we missed. That we skipped over.
yeah,
As well. And so the ability to have partnership between uh historical professionals and then builders and solvers and software engineers like yourself and everything like
yeah,
this creates a this creates and also to cement um a new idea of what history can be,
yeah,
because now once you have this information and once you have this stuff stored, and secure properly, now what you can do with that is now creativity restarts, meaning once you have this information, now you can start to build additional information where you can start to write children's books from
mhm,
this information. Now you can start to have real conversational conversations, with this documents and with this information. So now you can ask it questions and now you can, have conversations and stuff
mhm.
with it, now becomes, endless,
Yeah.
of what you can do with this, type of things and stuff for sure.
And I mean, even just thinking of, the possibilities of it shows us what's possible. Art shows us what's possible, science shows us what's possible. If I'm looking at history thinking, okay, how has someone in a similar situation in the past done things?
Mhm.
Show me something I didn't think of,
Yeah.
and this just brings it all back to the front. So
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, also too, it's like going back what you said earlier of like using like an Excel file, like what if you're researching things and what if you are, researching particularly like James Deering and you have like this Excel files of 300 questions.
yeah,
Hopefully it's not like a homework assignment, for anybody like that. But like, you have this Excel file of like 300 questions, particularly around, the James Deering and Deering family and the Deering estate. And like now, when you have this type of solution, you can just either, drop an Excel file and say like, hey, answer these questions from the information that you have, and everything, write, 2-paragraph responses and everything and stuff from it as well.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, again, it becomes endless.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And so also too, like, we that the document process is just, you know, one use case, and I definitely want to like circle that. It's one use case because, there's so many other,
Yeah.
use cases as well that can be built. So here I show this. I want to make sure that people's people's imagination stuff kind of keeps going and stuff there. All right. So going back to, going back to like the pre-built models and everything. So we actually, did we look at, yeah, so we got invoices. Yeah, so we looked at invoices as, one of the pre-built models and stuff that we have there. Um, we talked about receipts, um, identity documents. So passports, is a great example. And also two passports, IDs, as well. So the ability to use OCR to extract, information, on top of that. And then also too, like if you're building a, solution for, a bank, an airport, or like where it may be, then I'm, pretty sure you may be able to find some type of like verification, API to verify that these documents or anything, is legitimate, as well. And so, yeah, we talked about health cards, as well. Um, tax documents and everything. So we briefly went over that. So yeah, so tax documents and everything is a beautiful, use case and stuff there as well. So if we run the analysis stuff on there with the tax documents. All right. So there we go. We got the information back from there. Phil, understand that this is a W-2. It brought in the wages amount, the income withheld, the Social Security wages, all these necessary things. And so the ability to be able to, batch process thousands of these documents, as well at a very high and accurate rate, kind of Azure here kind of has done a lot of that work and stuff for us and stuff already. And so yeah, beautiful. We also talk about mortgage documents and stuff there. So we got some mortgage documents here, examples. So be able to process these type of documents and everything as well for your employee or for your business, for your client as well. Like a lot of these models and everything for us is already pre-built. So address, postal code numbers, region, the amount of dependencies and stuff they have, Social Security, aspect. Also, too, with this type of stuff as well, it's also a great reason to continue to build on Azure or anything to make sure things stay within compliance. And then we got another one, which is pay stubs as well. So the ability to be able to break down this information, everything for the fields as well, to be able to break down the pay stubs, maybe. And also this is really nice too as well, because maybe you only need the total, maybe you only need the current total in the year to date. You can kind of get that exact information instead of like all of it as well. And maybe you only need the total of deductions along with taxes, net pay, and so on and so on. Then also too, you may need account number and things like that you can kind of like, pull in and stuff there. And then bank statements. There's another one. . So be able to bring in information from bank statements as well. So the account summary, the amount, stuff there, the deposit, so the withdrawals, the service fee and stuff if you have the information too as well. Obviously address, and all those things. And also too, don't forget that like they kind of give you like some starter code, to here, it's for you as well. And then this is fortunately or solution everything for even some of our banks and stuff that we use, um, as well. We'll be able to bring in that information, account number, routing number, check number, make sure the amount is correct and all those things as well. And then we've all seen a solution with using something like credit cards, um, credit debit cards as well. And funny enough, I'm not gonna say any names, but it's amazing that I've found some companies who don't do a good job at this, and they're very popular, companies as well, which is interesting stuff there. So maybe they're not using Azure, Matt. Maybe to switch over and stuff there. And so yeah, so you'll be able to pull in the information as well. And then we'll skip over down to even things like contracts, and so what's the origin and stuff there? What does this contract state? Well, posting agreement. Well, so the information, everything for these contacts, the contract as well. And so yeah. So again, guys, like these are all pre-built models and everything that Microsoft provides to us. And to kind of build on top of it. And so, I'm one of the lucky ones to be able to, find this tool and kind of gain access to it. Kind of gain access to it, So if not this solution that I told you would have been a lot harder. It took a lot longer and stuff from there. But yeah, thoughts, questions, concerns, or anything there?
No, really, I really appreciate how you can see your thought process as you walked us through all of that. And being able to put it all together was, that's so helpful. Just knowing how you think and being able to reproduce that. So.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. No problem stuff at all. But yeah, man, Matt, man, that's so at my end and everything, I'll definitely if I know tomorrow too, we're gonna do more of a kind of like one-on-one as well. So I kind of go through just like my story and just kind of like how I've learned some of these things and just like how my journey, my path as well. So definitely we'll love to have you guys over there to tomorrow. And I know
it'll be totally worthwhile, folks. If please join us tomorrow. If I'll go ahead and put the registration link. I think everyone might already also be registered for this one, but and I will. I hope you talk about using Paint for that first app. I think that shows you've got character.
Or grit.
Yes.
Yeah, I tomorrow I'll talk about that process of like what you don't know, what you don't know, and I didn't know any better, and I my first the sneaker app that I built there, and I started off basically trying to design that app into Microsoft Paint because I didn't know any better and stuff, and so and just kind of like figure it out and stuff, and kept building from there.
Yeah, we all start somewhere, man. I did.
Yeah.
The first website I built on a Unix system, it was a mess. I was trying to use, like PowerPoint to build a website, and that was just bad.
Yeah, we're in the same field and stuff there because luckily I found somebody quickly who knew what they was doing, and they told me very quickly like, hey, don't ever do that again. Like, go learn the proper tool.
I will get the recording of today's session posted up to our YouTube channel so that we've got it there. And Tony, you missed some good stuff. You'll want to watch this recording when I get it back up there.
I was just about to say, it sounds like I missed.
It all came together, man. It was like the crescendo.
It's all good. I'll watch the recording. Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, guys, also too, like, feel free. I'll put my my LinkedIn stuff here in the chat too as well. So feel free to reach out to me if you guys, got any questions, concerns, anything like that, or just kind of like want to follow stuff, some of the things that I'm building too as well. And so I put that in the chat and stuff there.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I think
This is great.
Well, I think it's a wrap. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And hope to see you all tomorrow. Take care.
All right, guys. All right.